Welcome back to Animal Crossing New Horizons. I'm Dear Darling, and shall we see what's going on a lovely island of Fawnhollow today. I don't know if you saw that, but Raymond's soup looked like it was positively like, it was like flashing or something, but I think it was just the reflection of light, a trick of light, as you say. What can we talk about today? I don't really know. What's been on my mind? What's been on my, you know what actually, what happened recently is, I got a notification from my bank through the mobile app being like, oh, a new direct debit has been set up. A direct debit is just like a recurring payment which is automatically done through the bank, and I was like, what? Because normally it's things for like bills, you know. And that's something I was like, I don't really knew bills was going on, and I looked up a company name and I was like, I don't recognise this company name, and we'll get on to the rest of our story in a bit. So good evening everyone. Right now in Fawnhallow it's 10:14 PM on Thursday, December 8th, 2022. Excuse me. Yeah, so I looked up a company name and I was like, I don't recognise this company name. And then I googled it and I was like, oh, okay, this company name is my mobile provider name. Okay, so I guess it's like an alternative name for it, which I've never heard of, but you know, fair enough. And then, you know, I just went like down a bit of a rabbit hole being like, why on earth has my mobile company now like given me another direct debit? Has it been like what happened? Like, because when I started googling and it'd be like, oh, sometimes they do too if you like get a contract from them and also have like a phone contract, i.e. you're buying the phone through payment and installations every month. And I was like, well, that's not good because I haven't done that. I've bought my own phone and then, you know, I'm only doing a SIM card through them, so I was just like, what's going on? This is probably the most boring story in existence, but this happened last night, after Animal Crossing, like, it was just before I was going to go to bed, and I was like, what is going on? And then it was like, oh, you know, man, I'm going to have to call them up tomorrow and be like, hey, you know, this is like, why do I have another direct debit? Or, and I'm like, oh, maybe I should wait until, like, the actual time comes, because I was looking at my direct debits, and I was like, you know, well, I had two from a company, and I was like, one of them like was completely new and had no payments, and the other one had no like payment date, and I was like, what's going on? I don't really know what's going on. And then I noticed in my emails an email I just, you know, gracefully skimmed over, and then like probably didn't pay attention to. I was like, oh, it's an email from my mobile provider, and I thought it was just like, oh, your bill's ready, because that's what they often said. But it was just like, oh, you know, we're changing how our direct debit works, and you know, we're going to set up a new one for you or something. So if you get a notification from your bank being like, oh, you got a new direct debit, that's perfectly fine. It's because the system's changing. And I was like, oh, phew. And then I went to sleep. But that could have been very scary, I suppose, if it wasn't. If it was like genuinely like a scam or something, or like it's not even a scam, because in that case it would have been like, just, you know, like a company's mistake or something, like something got mistranslated, and then they were like, oh, they made a mistake and they're now double charging me. I mean, that would probably only happen if I interacted like with them recently and was like, hey, you know, I like want to change my contract or something, is my guess. But you know, it was a bit of a scary, like just before I went to sleep I was like, whoa, what's going on? Because part of me, not for whatever reason, you could probably see the reasoning, but I was like, is this a scam? Like, what happened? Like, how because I got really nervous. I was like, how do they get my bank details, my direct debit, and like get it approved? And like, come on, bank, how on earth did you approve this? But no, it's fine. You know, luckily scams, you know, luckily I don't really fall for like online scams about something. Actually, there was this one time, and I didn't actually get scammed, but it was when I first started university or whatever, you know, it was like during my first week or whatever, like you get, if you don't know, you get tons and tons of emails, like, because you had like a lot of stuff to do, you know, you'd be like stuff on the office being like, oh, you had to fill in this form, oh, please do this, please do X, please do Y, here's what you do if you want to sign up for whatever, X, Y, Z. And during that entire mess, I actually got a spam email in one of the things where it was just like, hey, you need to fill in this form for whatever reason, like blah 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 blah. And I was like, whoa, okay, you know, I saw it in the middle of my lecture, you know, in between the lectures. I was like, okay, I guess I'll fill in this form, and I started filling it in. And when I looked at it, and I was like, why am I filling in this form? What's it for? You know, something in the back of my head was like, this doesn't seem right. And when I looked at the thing again, I was like, oh, I think this is a scam, which is good, because it's not good necessarily, I suppose, but it's like before I finished filling it in, I didn't put any sensitive information in. I put in like my email or something, that was it. And then I was like, whoa, that could have been bad. Like if I had actually like submitted that information, I would have just got my details like first week of university. I mean, it's like stole all my details or something, and I'd be like, whoa. But yeah, I mean I'd like to say, luckily, I feel like I'm savvy enough internet-wise to realise when scams are happening. But, you know, everyone's got their shortcomings or whatever. And, like, I wonder statistically if people throughout my life probably fall for one scam or something, at least in my lives. And I'm not even talking about online scams. I'm talking about like scams in general, because I probably fallen for a couple of scams. There was one time on holiday where we went into basically not a dodgy taxi, but like a taxi which like had way increased rates, and there's basically nothing we could do. So we were just like, oh, pay them, we'll just eat the loss. You know, they win this time. You know, it's kind of annoying, but it's also kind of funny afterwards. So it was like, in retrospect, the signs were very obvious. I don't even know why we did that, but from what I remember, I was very tired that day. Maybe that's just me making excuses, who knows. But the other time I remember, actually, because this is relevant, because it's an online sort of scam, sort of, is there was this old game called Habbo Hotel, which it's basically kind of like a chat room, is what I'd say. And I played it like, you know, Habbo Hotel license agreement. I played it younger than I probably should have. But yeah, you played it. It was like a social game. You could have like furniture items. You could buy it from a store. You could decorate your rooms, and it's basically just people chatting, hopefully having a good time. You know, Habbo Hotel's gone under a lot of controversies, you know, as I understand it. But you know, I was like 12, so I didn't really know what was going on. But yeah, I remember there was this time, like, it's pretty difficult to get furniture in that game. You had to pay real money. You had like microtransactions to actually get it. So sometimes, like on my birthday, I'd get like some mobile phone credits to, or like beg my parents, and I'd be like, all right, fine, and they'd allow me to spend some money so I can get some furniture items. And I remember in the game, I super loved collecting these little rubber duckies, because they were like a collector's item. There was like different versions. There was like a Valentine's version, a Christmas version that you can get like at different periods. So I'd save up to get them. I'd just like trade around to try and get them. You could do these things where you play mini games, and then like these are people who were like pretty rich, who had a lot of furniture items, would play mini games, and they would give out furniture items to those who win, etc. Yeah, and this was before like at some point, you know, like I remember I paid my sister, and she gave me like all her furniture items because she stopped playing. She was like, "What's the point?" And I don't know why and if I did that, but you know, I was also quite young, so who really cares? You know, it's all in the past. It was like £10. Who cares? It's like it's meaningless at this point. But no. I remember I befriended someone, you know, and we were just like chatting in the chat room about ducks and whatever. And then he pulled like the oldest scam in the book, which, you know, if you fall for it now, you know, hopefully I'll tell you now, and hopefully kids these days are much more savvy about that sort of thing. So, you know, because they grow up with technology for longer. But I remember it was being like, hey, do you know there's a way that you could get like 1,000 free credits being the Habbo Hotel like monetary system, the premium currency. And I was like, whoa, how does that work? He was like, yeah, my friend showed it to me and it worked. It totally works. What you had to do, and I can't remember the exact details, but it was basically like you had to type your password in, and then you had to press like shift, enter, control W in that order, or shift, enter, alt, F4 or something in that order, and you can see what's coming if you have any sort of semblance of keyboard shortcuts on computers. I was like, whoa, that's crazy. So that's what I did. Like, I typed my password, and then I did like, and then I did what he said, and then it just like closed my game, and I was like, whoa, that's weird. And then I logged back in, and then so I think something in the back of my head was like, hey, that seems pretty bad, because just before like the window closed, I saw my password being sent into the chat, so I was like, that doesn't seem good. It's a Stuff Fragment Island. So I very quickly changed my password. I remember this, and then I logged back into my account, and then luckily, he didn't manage to steal many things. He managed to take 5 rubber ducks. Not even a limited edition ducks. So I don't know what he was doing. I guess he didn't expect me to so rapidly change my password. I managed to save the rest of my rubber ducks, but that like lives on in my memory, because, you know, it's a things with like lessons you learn. Once you learn that lesson, you tend to remember, like, once you feel the negative effects of a lesson, you tend to remember like the things you learn from it, hopefully for the rest of your life, or, you know, at least until next time you forget about it or whatever. But that moment's like stuck in my head, because I'm just like, the first time I properly got scammed, you know. The internet's not always full of like nice people who are willing to help you out, you know. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably isn't, in the infamous words of a British TV show called Real Hustle, where like, but basically it was like con artists, or like, you know, white hat con artists, I suppose you might say, were like, hey, you know, these are like common pitfalls and traps that you've got to look out for, and these scams, like, don't fall for them. Actually, one of them I always think about is the one, it's called like Razzle Dazzle or something. I don't remember how it goes. It's like, it's a carnival game where basically it's just intense gambling, where you chuck like a load of balls into like oh my god, what? It's terrible. Sorry about that little bit of a pause, but you know, I think this rock is done and dusted in this case. But yeah, did I finish telling that Happy Hotel scam story? I'm trying to think if I've been scammed again. Not that I can think of. I think the one that people always talk about is like RuneScape. I'm not even sure if if I can even look upwards because of a Joy-Con drift. Come on. There we go. You know what? Why don't I dig 2 holes next to me? And then my character won't be tempted to run around, hopefully. But yeah, but one I always hear about is like in RuneScape, people getting scammed because, you know, they do trades or something and whatnot, and then, I don't know, I can't remember what is meant to happen, but then they somehow, they tell you to accept it or whatever, and you just do it, and then you lose whatever items you got. Actually, I do have a story from RuneScape, which I thought was a scam, but it wasn't a scam. As it turns out, it was just someone just like kept asking to trade with me, so I was like, sure, and they just gave me like an entire inventory full of anchovies, and they were like, enjoy, and I was like, cool, thanks. I didn't really know what it meant. Thinking back on it, they probably were some random high-level player just like trying to train up their fishing or cooking skill, and then saw a newbie and was like, hey, I don't need all these anchovies, let's just give it to them. I don't know, maybe. It's probably happened multiple times that I've got like scammed or something. Oh, I remember another time in Habbo Hotel. Obviously most of my stories are going to be in Habbo Hotel because that's like the only like game I played when I was younger, like young enough to actually fall for these sort of problems. Oh, is it also a full moon today? I didn't know about these scams, but also, you know, the only game which had like these sort of like trading mechanics in it. But one time I played, there's a again, you can play mini games in Habbo Hotel where you win furniture items for doing whatever. But there's also a thing that if you get eliminated in a minigame, you can, it's either, your options are you either get kicked, which means you know, you lose, you're eliminated. You can, I can't remember, it's like play, P2P is like pay to play, which, pay to stay or something? P2S? I don't remember. Well, basically, you give a very cheap furniture item in exchange for being allowed to stay, for the minigame, which was a horrible deal. I'm not gonna lie. That makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. Like you're playing to win one furniture item, so you're gambling on the fact that you will pay one small furniture item to stay in the game. Like, I suppose it's, you know, well, quite literally, I suppose some weird form of gambling. And there's another option, but I can't remember what the other option was. To be honest, but there was always 3 options which they said, like when you lose. And I remember one time, for whatever reason, I decided I would pay to stay in this game. I don't know, maybe it was like a big prize at the end. And then I remember, because I figured out what happened later, it was like I got a trade and I gave him an item, and then I was like, okay, there you go, I gave you an item. And they were like, I didn't get an item. And then I was like, what are you talking about? I just gave you an item. And then, you know, went back and forth. And then they kicked me because I was like, I gave you an item. And they were like, you didn't. I figured it out later. It was one random person in queue, because you could trade from anywhere for whatever reason in that game. You in queue just like sent me a trade as soon as I said, okay, I'll pay to stay or whatever. And then I just gave him the item because I didn't check usernames. Weird, huh? Anyway, if anything, it's a lesson well learned. It makes no sense to do these pay to stay sort of things in the first place. Oh man, I got all these Happy Hotel like memories. Remember there was like that like 100 like maze room game or whatever where you had to like click on these very specific places, then go through 100 rooms to actually get through a maze to win or whatever. I remember one time I got super far then, but like in some of the later levels, if you misclick once, like if you click on just slightly wrong area, you fall off. I mean, you know, you can't reset. That's it. You're done. I remember I got to one about floating mats, and there was a lot of illusion-based tricks in that one, and then I died, and I was like, I can't remember what number that was. I'm going to guess it was around the 60s or something. But yeah, I don't know why that came to mind randomly. I guess Happy Hotel's on mind. Can I think of any? What else did I used to play? I used to play Club Penguin when I was younger, but it's quite hard to get scammed on Club Penguin because there's no trading system, and the only time you can buy things or even display things is if you're a Club Penguin member in the first place. So I guess the way you get scammed is you would have to buy someone else's Club Penguin membership or something. Anyway, rest in peace Club Penguin, because it's now been replaced by like Penguin Island or something, and then it got shut down, didn't it? Anyway, that was a glorious day when I remember when I was allowed to get 1 month of Club Penguin membership. I bought everything. Like I'd been playing that game like daily for like years or something, and then like got one Got one time I was like Club Penguin membership. I just bought literally everything. I mean, it all went away the next month, apart from Mother Puffles. Good times. What sort of online games did I play? I used to play this MMORPG called Grand Fantasia when I was younger, but that was more my teenage years, so I was kind of more like aware of scams. So I don't think I really got scammed in the first place. What I remember from Grand Fantasia was this thing called Magic Alchemy Clay, which you bought with real money and which you sold in game for gold or whatever. And I did a little bit of that, which is pointless now I think about it. Like, why would I do that? I don't know. But yeah. I can't really think of other times I've really been scammed. I feel like nowadays I haven't seen... Well, maybe there are scammers, maybe I just like pay even less attention to them. They like try and scam me when I'm like, blocked or something. But it almost feels like there's less scammers nowadays. Maybe people are more like privy to these sort of knowledges or whatever, and people are like less likely to fall for it. I don't know. I genuinely don't know. But that'd be my ongoing theory. I'm trying to think of... I'm really just sort of trying to rack my brain here. Or like other games I played when I was younger and might have got scammed. Like, I'm trying to think of the games I played, and most of them didn't have like some sort of trading or transactional system in them. Like, I played Transformers when I was younger. I mean, you could buy stuff from the shop, but you couldn't give stuff to people. At least back when I played. Now you have like a premium currency of strawberry. Or actually, some Transformers like shut down now, or is it still going on? I genuinely don't know. I'm trying to think of like, I mean, I will say recently I've gotten a lot of scam, like there was like a huge time, like last year or something, I got a huge amount of scam calls, like, talking in Chinese or whatever, and I just like immediately hang up. As soon as I hear Chinese in a robotic voice, I'm like, blocked, report as spam. But no, recently I've gotten a lot of text messages being like a Snapchat ones, Snapchat sort of scams where they're like, oh, your Snapchat friend, someone's adding you on Snapchat, click this link. Google's very good at like looking at the text, then immediately being like, hey, this is it's most likely like a spam or like a phishing text. Like, I haven't clicked on any of them, I'm going to be honest, but because I look at them and be like, I haven't used Snapchat for years, who on earth would add me on Snapchat? And then obviously the first time I saw it, I was like, what? Snapchat texted me to be like, someone added me? And then I was like, when I saw it had a link, it was a bit.ly link, and I was like, no, that's a scam, obviously. But oh my god, I didn't mean to do that. I was like, for a second, I was like, what? It was very strange. I don't know if we've... Oh my god, Joy-Con drift. I was going to say, I don't know if we've learned this recipe or not. It seems like we have not. Oh, we have even. But yeah, and I'm trying to think of other times I got like scammed or whatever, but can't really think of a time. It's probably happened, probably. Is this in the right place? No, that doesn't look right. That was probably right. Yeah, I can't really think of another time, but, there's my story, so just, be warned of online scammers. If it sounds too good to be true, if anyone ever approaches you being like, hey, this is how you get free XYZ, just be like, no thanks, because it's probably a scam. Like, 99.5% time, it's a scam. The other 0.05% time of it's not a scam, but they take your data or something, and you only get like a really tiny amount. So that do just be how life is. But anyway, I'm gonna round this episode off here. So if you have been watching, thank you very much. It's been Animal Crossing New Horizons. I've been Dear Darling. Any likes, comments, subscription, shares are greatly appreciated. Join me Dear Darling Discord, follow me on Twitter down below. Hope you see each other again. But for now, it's farewell. So until next time, bye bye for now.